Alright, what is going on my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. Now, this type of video is going to be a little bit different from like typical videos that I upload. I actually uploaded a very similar video to this in January where we were talking about what should be releasing up until the anniversary at that point. Now, since I made a video a couple days ago discussing the new Choose Your Own Sugo-Fest or Make It Your Sugo-Fest, a lot of people have been commenting, they're like, when should I be pulling next as a free-to-play player, or when is the next time I should be doing a lot of pulls? Now, I did mention that V2 Katakuri is kind of like the next best Sugo-Fest to be pulling on, you know, as long as they release it by the normal scheduling, which is what they have been doing, which makes sense. However, in my video that I made in January talking about events that should be coming up until the anniversary that was in February, they actually released a couple like new global first stuff, like the Raid Shanks and Mihawk. That was really brand new, and introducing Dex Sabo Sugo-Fest, that was pretty crazy, and then also releasing obviously Whitebeard for the anniversary was also pretty crazy. So they did introduce a couple of new things in there, which I do enjoy because it kind of makes it a little bit more unpredictable, and I do enjoy when they do that type of stuff. Now in this video we're going to be discussing all the upcoming like banners that should be arriving on global, and just discussing them in general, and just talking about the characters that are going to be available, and we'll also just, you know, get up to V2 Katakuri, discuss when that should be arriving, and we'll go from there. So the next big Sugo-Fest to arrive literally should be coming within the next like week or two, which is the version 2 Jinbei Sugo-Fest. So I've got him up on the database here, and I'm also on the One Piece Treasure Cruise subreddit Discord, and I've just gone ahead and looked at the archives of when the banners did release, and you can see here, this is the banner for version 2 Jinbei. It was a pretty interesting Sugo-Fest. It was okay. The batch of V2 Jinbei is okay. Like, the thing about it is like there's only like two of the actual batch that are like really good. You've got Kami and Hachi. Hachi's just like really good all the time. He's just such an amazing character. But Kami is also very good only when you have the double special activation like fully maxed out. Other than that, Kami is kind of a little bit more annoying to use. But the rest of the batch, you got Praline, Aladdin's okay, and Watatsume, who's like kind of trash. Like, the batch is just kind of average. Jinbei himself, very good legend, don't get me wrong, he is very powerful, but he's got the same sort of treatment that like what Shiki had, where yes, the character is good and the character can beat a lot of high level content. It's just that no one really likes to use them. A lot of people compare Jinbei to Lucy in a lot of different ways. He is very similar in the way that he works. He's got very similar damage output. The special ability is somewhat similar in a way. A lot of people do compare them directly to each other. Jinbei is very good though, do not get me wrong. He is very powerful, but this is definitely a Sugo-Fest that you would want to skip if you are a free-to-play player. It does have some interesting steps, although the steps usually change on global. Maybe first multi is going to be probably a discounted multi, and then second multi says guaranteed to be a new unit from the batch. That would be tempting me to pull if they did that. If they did like showcase characters are rate boosted, that would be trash. I can see them doing it, but that would be absolutely trash. And it says there was something interesting here about the 9th and 5th multi, 9th and 15th multi are guaranteed to be one of those legends, which I do like when they do that. That definitely helps out a lot. But yeah, V2 Jinbei Sugo-Fest should be coming soon because Coliseum Tamago was actually input into the game, so that is the next Coliseum to come out. And with that, there was this post here on the actual Coliseum itself. It says the following characters get a power boost for a limited time: Jinbei, Aladdin, Praline, Watatsume, Hachi, Kami, and Hody Jones. All of these characters get 1.25 stats and 6 turns cooldown reduction. So this being input into the game obviously does hint towards the fact that this Sugo-Fest should be coming very, very soon. And it does say Hody Jones. Hody Jones is not a part of the batch. However, if we scroll down a little bit here, yes, here we go. Limited Rare Recruit Hody Jones. So we do know that Limited Rare Recruit Vivi is currently available right now on the Tavern of One Piece Treasure Cruise Global. When that banner leaves, I am expecting 100% this banner to be replacing it. This Hody Jones is actually really good. Let me go ahead and get him up here, because I've forgotten a little bit what he does. I know he is an orb booster of some kind. He is a strength unit, Strength Hody Jones. So this character is a strength powerhouse slasher. Really good stats across the board. He is captain effect, reduce all cooldowns by 1, boost attack and powerhouse by 3.25, and increase damage received by a certain percentage. Okay, that's fair enough. So 3.25 all the time and 1 turn cooldown reduction, he's pretty good to start off the bat. Special ability, deals 50 times attack and strength damage to all enemies, changes orbs in the left column to dex, strength, and psi, and orbs in the right column to tandem, quick, and int. If your friend captain's orb is strength, dex, or recovery, amplifies the effects of orbs of powerhouse by 2.25 for 1 turn. So he does work perfectly well with the new Jinbei legend that does come out, so that makes a lot of sense why that's the case. And then on top of that as well, Ray Judge should be arriving within the next, couple of weeks. He is a very good character. I believe he's a color affinity booster and works very well with Legend Jinbei as well. So they bring out a lot of characters that work directly with Jinbei and help him out just a little bit more. This character is very good and likely going to be a trusty character in the next treasure map as well. So yeah, that's definitely stuff to look forward to. Okay, so moving on now, past the Jinbei Sugo-Fest, sometime in April, I am expecting this to arrive as well. This will probably arrive at the end of April, probably the last couple weeks of April, after the treasure map Boa Hancock arrives. The 6+ island for Frankie and version 1 Sanji. A lot of people have been asking about this recently, and I am very much looking forward to this, especially because I did just pull Sanji like really recently. Both of these characters are just really good super evolutions. Frankie does get a slight upgrade, makes him a little bit better, but V1 Sanji, his upgrade is just really, really good. It makes him so much more stronger and more reliable as a captain. So I am much looking forward to this, and this should be coming late April if I had to guess, along with a brand new Straw Hat Sugo-Fest, where on the 5th, 7th, 9th multi, Frankie or Sanji are available on the last poster. So that is quite interesting, and if you are missing any of those, it would be tempting, but once again, as a free-to-play player, I would suggest to you not to be pulling here. Now moving on to the next batch, which should be the Capone Batch, which would be arriving after Jinbei. And this batch, man, I love Legend Capone. He's probably one of my favorite legends in the entire game. I love the way that they built him. He just works so much more differently compared to a lot of other legends. He's just really, really cool. So shooter-driven and fighter legends are only type of legends that are going to be available. Now, I hope they do this more in the future, because there are so many legends available in the game right now that having the ability to restrict the classes of legends that are going to be available in the banner, I think that's a really good option to do. There's just so many different legends now, so the fact that they're restricting the pool a little bit is quite nice, and I do hope they continue to do that in the future. It hasn't really happened that much on Global, but on JP, that actually happened quite often. Now, I really hope they do continue that. Now, Capone is one of the best legends in the game, I would say. His batch, kind of like Jinbei, there's like 1 or 2 good units, and the rest of them are just kind of average, which is really unfortunate. I do like the batches where all of them are just OP. Unfortunately, that's not really the case with Capone's batch. His whole batch do support Capone. I think the Caesar rare recruit doesn't, though. I don't think he's even a shooter. I believe he's like a slasher or something, but that's quite interesting. Anyways, this batch is going to be great. Capone is fantastic. He works really well in especially the upcoming treasure map for this particular event where Capone was released. He isn't the debuting character on the treasure map. There was actually a new legend that debuted on the treasure map when Capone got released. But anyways, this is again another Sugo-Fest. I would suggest skipping here. However, on the 2nd and 5th multi, it says a guaranteed character from the new batch, meaning obviously if you did get a red poster, it would be Capone. That would be cool if they brought that over to Global. Once again, not expecting them to, but it would be nice. But anyways, that's going to be it for this particular banner, and let's continue on. So following the release of Capone, we have another treasure map Sugo-Fest, which is going to be the release and the debut of Binz, Ein, and Zephyr, which will be really, really awesome because I'm a big fan of Zephyr. I love the character himself, but in Treasure Cruise as well, he's very good as well. Zephyr is the highest point booster, kind of like when they released Tesoro and when they released Shiki. So likely on Global, when Zephyr gets released, he's going to be a 2x point booster, and then the 2 other rare recruits, Ein and Binz, will be like probably 1.5 boosters, maybe 1.75. Either way, that's going to be really, really cool. He's just such a strong character. He also helps directly support the shooter meta with Legend Capone, and Treasure Map Hancock, which is coming out on Global, is a direct support for shooters as well. So there's lots of good stuff to look forward to. But once again, if you are free to play, you typically want to skip a lot of these banners until it's a 2x legend rate, because that's where you get the most value for your gems, in my opinion anyway. But if you are one of those people that do spend a little bit of money on the game, Treasure treasure map Sugo-Fest are never really a bad idea because, you know, you can get those characters and then you can use those characters that you pull to then go ahead and farm the treasure map much easier to get your red poster tickets, which is obviously, I think it's actually quite worth it. You know, if you do 2 multis for a guaranteed booster, you know, for that guaranteed booster, that will help you, you know, get up to 4, you know, red posters, which is pretty awesome. Obviously, you have to put in the effort to farm treasure map, but, you know, it does help you along the way to get higher points on treasure map. Either way, once again, do not be pulling here, and we'll move on to the next Sugo-Fest. And then, after the treasure map Sugo-Fest with Zephyr, and we go across probably about a month, we're going to have the release of the Carrot Sugo-Fest, which is one of the most anticipated Sugo-Fests I've seen between the whole community. A lot of people are really looking forward to Legend Carrot. Understandably so, because she's very good. The thing is, though, as well as actually scrolling through this, after the treasure map Sugo-Fest with Zephyr, a lot of this stuff here on JP was relating to the World Clash. So they might have a filler Sugo-Fest here and there on Global, because obviously the World Clash was available in Japan at that time, or they'll release a World Clash event after the release of treasure map Zephyr. I think that could be a really cool option as well, but in my opinion, I feel like the World Clash for 2019, if there is going to be another one, would be around about the same time period as the last one in the year, which would be towards the end of the year. That's what I would think anyway, but you never know. You know, Bandai do some pretty crazy stuff. Now, the Carrot Sugo-Fest, only Fighter Slasher and Cerebral Legends are going to be available. Hopefully that comes over to Global as well. Restricting the legend pool would be quite good. Carrot is the only boosted legend. I remember when this actually got revealed, the actual Sugo-Fest on JP, I believe Carrot was like the only legend that was like further rate boosted, which is really weird. You don't really see that often. And then you get the 3rd, 6th, 9th, and 12th multi is a guaranteed red from the following pool. Look at that pool of legends. The 3, 6, 9th, and 12th multi are guaranteed to be one of those legends. And all of those legends are pretty freaking powerful. I mean, Carrot, obviously top tier. Zephyr, very good. Brook, I mean, it's Brook. Wipe It and Marco, obviously amazing. V2 Sanji, amazing. Akainu, amazing. Gifu Luffy, amazing, who will be getting his Super Evolution very, very soon after this Sugo-Fest. Nami, amazing. V2 Rayleigh, kind of outdated a little bit, but still has his uses here and there. Lucy, if you don't have him, always good to have. V2 Shanks, very good as well. V2 Law, kind of get to the low pool here. V2 Fuji, he's pretty bad. Robin, still pretty solid. Inu Arashi, pretty average, until he gets his 6+, which makes him really good. And then Katakuri and Luffy and Ace. So for the 3, 6, 9, 12 to guarantee to get one of those that's such a good Sugo. And the reason why they do this is because the Sugo-Fest after this is the Katakuri Sugo-Fest, which makes a lot of sense. They want people to be pulling here before the double legend raid Sugo-Fest. Now, I think on Global, because our steps are no longer 3, 6, 9, 12, our steps now are 3, 6, 8, 10. That's our steps. So I would expect 3, 6, 8, 10 to be guaranteed to be probably one of these legends. They might change a couple of these characters around, but for the most part, I feel like these characters should be about the same. And if that's the case, I probably will be doing pulls here, because that's just so worth it to guarantee to get, you know, have a chance at Carrot. I probably won't get Zephyr, let's admit, but that would be really cool to get a chance at those guys. And this Sugo-Fest is just really good. All these characters, aside from Barbarois, he's kind of bad, but all these characters are very, very good characters to have access to, because you got a good booster here. His character's just amazing. Galette, I forgot what Galette does, but I know she's good. And then you have Carrot, obviously, which is the speed queen of the game, so she's so good. It makes a lot of sense that they released this Sugo-Fest right before the Katakuri Sugo-Fest, as the Katakuri Sugo-Fest is the next best Sugo-Fest to be pulling for. But as a free-to-play player, I would still probably suggest to stay away from this, as you can potentially get guaranteed Snake Man on the Katakuri Sugo-Fest. And here it is, guys. This is the Sugo-Fest that we've been waiting for, the Katakuri and Snake Man Sugo-Fest. Now, this actually arrived at New Year's, between 2018 and 2019. This was the New Year's Sugo-Fest on Japan, and this is the next best Sugo-Fest to be saving for, as we mentioned at the start of the video, and as I mentioned in my video a couple of days ago, this is what you've been waiting for. I cannot wait until this arrives. This should be arriving around about June. If I had to make a guess, I would expect this to arrive around June 2019 for Global. So, all legend rate are 2.5 times. Now, on Japan, it's a 2.5 times legend rate, so if I had to make an assumption, I would assume that we might get like a 3 times legend rate for this Sugo-Fest, which is insane. It'll be a higher legend rate than the anniversary, if that is the case, if they do that, because naturally Japan's rates, even before their minor boost, were already better than globals, and like our 3 times rate was the same as their 2 times rate. So I believe with the release of this Sugo-Fest, or maybe the Sugo-Fest after this, they had a increased rate of legends just passively. So I think that our boost could be a 3 times boost for this Sugo-Fest. Obviously it was an all gold Sugo-Fest, and then part 1, you would get the Gear 4 Luffy 6+ guaranteed max special level and max sockets on the 9th multi-pull. Now for global, they might have some discounts. They might have like maybe 2 discount multis on the 1st and maybe the 4th or 5th multi, which means that it would cost 410 gems, but I would still save up to 450 just to be safe, because you never know, for the guaranteed Gear 4 Luffy Snake Man. Now Snake Man, he's top tier. He is better than Tank Man in my personal opinion, and in a lot of people's opinions. Snake Man is just the better character compared to Tank Man, even though Tank Man does have a little bit more creativity in the way that he's built in the game with the gear activation, and you can switch between Gear 2, Gear 3, Gear 4. I do like that about that Luffy character, but when you look at the pure damage and the pure usability of a character, Snake Man is just better. And the fact that he's also got the ability to speed farm as well, because he does reduce cooldowns as a captain, it's just so amazing to use him. And then obviously version 2 Katakuri, he's going to be an amazing character for the future of One Piece Treasure Cruise, and if you get a hold of him, then he's going to be awesome. In terms of building teams for him, maybe when he does get closer to release, I'll probably release a video discussing how to build teams with the character, because he's very similar to version 1 Katakuri in terms of team building. You have to have those 5 specific classes, and it is kind of tricky to build teams with him, so I'll probably upload a video later on down the track detailing how to build teams with this character. So I'm really looking forward to this. It's going to be amazing with a really high legend rate, and obviously all of these characters here are going to be boosted for the next treasure map as well, which will be treasure map Kaido, which does come out after the Katakuri Sugo-Fest. Now this is all just assuming that the release schedule is going to be the same. There could be something where they bring a character forward and they push a character back. I don't think they would do that though, considering with the whole fact of treasure maps nowadays, usually they like to release characters in schedule so they are boosted for their treasure map for their intended usage, which makes sense in my head. But you know, they could release a global first character in between this period, which makes a lot of sense. They could release the dual legend Neko and Inu, which is the character that we voted for after the World Clash. That could be released at literally any time during 2019. I'm really looking forward to that, so hopefully we get more information on that soon. And I didn't go through it in this video as well, but there's a whole bunch of limited rare recruits that will be coming out throughout this period as well as you know, raid bosses and stuff. So there is lots to look forward to as we head towards this period of time with Katakuri and Snake Man. Now after this Sugo-Fest drops, I'll probably upload another video discussing like when's the next best Sugo-Fest to be pulling for, which after this is going to be the version 2 German batch, which should be only about 2 or 3 months after this particular Sugo-Fest. So after this Sugo-Fest is when you start needing to be saving once again. But anyways, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully it gives you guys some insight as to what should be coming in One Piece Treasure Cruise Global. Once we get the data download for the version 2 Jinbei batch, I'll probably be making a separate video discussing the Sugo-Fest in detail, discussing the characters and how good they are, and that's going to be awesome to look forward to. So hopefully you guys did enjoy the video, and if you guys did, make sure to leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But on that guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.